The morning when everything changed, the city was still asleep. The early morning haze gently stretched over the skyline, slowly making way for light, but that light had yet to reach the hearts of those who had long given up on it. Streets lay quiet, the sky barely awake. Inside a modest apartment, a man named Daniel opened his eyes. He stared blankly at the ceiling, not with hope, but with a heaviness in his chest that had become all too familiar. Another day had begun. But in Daniel's mind, it felt no different than the one before. He remained in bed a while, as if hoping that by closing his eyes again, he might wake to a different life. Deep down, however, he knew, nothing changes unless you change. Daniel was 34. Life had not gone according to plan. In his youth, he had a passion for art. Drawing wasn't just a hobby, it was how he spoke to the world. Paper was his playground, and a pencil was his truth. He sketched feelings that words could never express. But dreams are fragile things, and reality can be a brutal weight. His family wanted stability. Society demanded practicality. Bills had to be paid. And so, little by little, Daniel put away his pencils, choosing instead jobs that drained him just to survive. He applied to art schools, got rejected. He tried freelancing, got ignored. Each failure chipped away at his self-worth. Years passed, and the artist inside him fell silent. Today, as he sat at the edge of his bed, that silence was louder than ever. But something was different this morning. He walked to the window. The dawn light was beginning to warm the sky. And deep within, beneath all the doubt and dust, a voice whispered, "You are not finished. The fire inside you is still there." Tears welled in Daniel's eyes. He hadn't cried in years. Not because he hadn't felt pain, but because he had forgotten how to feel. These tears weren't of sorrow, they were a release. A quiet resurrection. The first real emotion he'd allowed in a long time. He opened the drawer of his old desk and pulled out a small sketchbook. It was worn and yellowed with age, untouched for a decade. The last page bore a drawing, half-finished, abandoned in a moment of defeat. Daniel took a pencil. His hands trembled. Heart pounding. He began to draw. It wasn't perfect, but it was honest. He drew a man standing at the base of a mountain, his back to the shadows, his eyes fixed on the summit. That man was him. The meaning was simple: it's not too late. That morning became a turning point. He wasn't magically transformed into a success. He was still unemployed, still uncertain, but now, he had purpose. He walked to the local library and asked the librarian, "Do you have books on teaching art or starting a community class?" She smiled. "Haven't seen you here in a while, Daniel." "I was lost," he replied. "Now I want to find myself again." He borrowed books on pedagogy, community building, and art fundamentals. Every morning, he studied. Every afternoon, he drew. Slowly, the rust began to fall away. His hands grew steadier. His imagination bloomed. One afternoon, he posted a flyer on the community board, "Free art lessons for kids. Saturdays in the park. No experience needed. Just bring curiosity." The first week, no one came. The second week, one child, Liam, showed up. Then 2. Then 6. Within a month, Daniel's small class had grown into a local gathering of kids and teens sketching under the open sky. He wasn't making money, but he was making a difference. Daniel began to smile more. He greeted mornings with excitement, not dread. His art became not just a therapy, but a bridge. A way to pass the spark forward. Through these children, he saw what he had once forgotten: creativity heals. He no longer needed external approval. His self-worth wasn't in likes or validation, but in every curious eye that watched his hand move across a page, in every laugh from a child discovering color. One morning, Daniel sat at his desk, sipping coffee. A new drawing lay before him. This time, the man from the old sketch had reached the mountaintop. Behind him followed others, children, students, seekers. He wasn't alone anymore. He whispered softly to himself, all change begins with one decision. I made mine that morning, and I never looked back.